What's happening? It should be popping up. What's happening? Do you want to sign? There he is. This sign is bread and wine. Meow, all you want. It's time to talk about Emma Stone, damn it. Bugonia. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it, right? Apparently there's a flower out there called the Bugonia, but they decided to call it Bugonia, which refers to an ancient tradition of leaving a dead body carcass of a cow slash bull, and then believing that by some miracle, there's a word for it, but that bees would start popping up from that carcass, hence giving you honey and abundance and a miracle. So, where does that leave Emma Stone? Well, if you've been watching, like one has, she's been on a bit of a road trip, right? She's been doing her Poor Things movie, then she did, I think, something, oh, she did the anthology movie, I forgot what it was called, but it was really cool. Jesse Plemons was also in that one, and that was like an interesting kind of like a full circle story that took pieces of every character and pushed it all together. And now we have them coming back around with one Bugonia, where in this film, yes, Jesse Plemons is back, that guy right there, along with Emma Stone. They seem to have a good kind of banter with each other. And in this time, what if everything happening, right? What if all the changes, or what if everything that just kind of like felt different was different? Because for one, Jesse Plemons, who's, you know, your average conspiracy theorist who really believes in what he preaches, he decides that Emma Stone is actually an ancient alien descendee from the ancient alien civilization. And yeah, if you're not scared yet, then you should be. Because we've heard things like this before. I'd like to say that, you know, we talk about Egypt, we talk about the pyramids, how were they made, blah, blah, blah. And the discussion has been thrown around of, were we really the first beings on this planet, aside from the dinosaurs? However the dinosaurs went, we came. And there's a lot that we don't know about that time frame, you know, in general. So seeing someone just kind of say, you know what, fudge it, let's just go with this, we're gonna push it, we're gonna tell a crazy story, and you really won't know until the end. But it is the journey, right? That is the journey. A journey is part of the fun, right? And we get to follow these, again, two factions. Let's just call it Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. And it's basically a he said, she said scenario, but it's put so absurdly that you have to incline that, you know, maybe this guy, even if this guy is crazy, like some of the things that he's saying, just the way he expresses it, the way he really feels it is scary. The meaning, the idea that like someone could really believe something that completely, and their universe cannot be cracked by, let's call it, common sense. And that's a little creepy, man, if you really think about what this country has been going through and all that stuff. Because yeah, the bottom line at the end of this film is that Jesse Plemons believes that one Emma Stone is about to leave Earth on the night of the full moon, because that's where the barrier or whatever gets divided or whatever. The communication barrier gets open or whatever, and it's a rush for time to try to take the hostage of Emma Stone, keep her hostage, while trying to get a what are they called? A audience with the kings of the space alien race. For, you know, when he says he has good intentions. He says he wants to save humanity, and there's this sub character that helps Jesse Plemons. It's his cousin, and between the two of them, they're able to actually pull off the abduction, which is really hard, really weird to say out loud. But you're introduced to this sort of like, even this dude who is not necessarily all there, the second guy, he's not the smartest tool in the shed, correct? But even he has like concerns over his cousins, and let's just say that certain buttons push can cause someone as, let's call it simple-minded, not in a negative way, but in the simple-mindedness of like, you know what, it's over, we're done, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Simple-mindedness causes actions, and it's really interesting, right? Because this film does something really cool that, like, yes, you don't believe anything Jesse Plemons is saying, but at the same time, we're already here for the ride, and he's going through it like with his he's committed to this. So you almost have to stop yourself, and you have to go like, wait a minute, but what if he's right? Oh yeah. But with an interesting cast, you know, obviously the main standouts being Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. This secondary character, I don't have a name for him, but he added a bit of like, you know, when you're operating on a person, or cooking a dish, or you're in like a leadership, your team of leadership or whatever people, and you see that one person who just does not get it, and a part of you is like, oh, I'm a little disappointed. But at the same time, like, what am I gonna really do about him? Like, am I gonna do the work for him, or am I just gonna, you know, either figure something else out, a different solution perhaps? And that kind of like sense of like wrench in the works is presented through this character, which really makes this a lot more personal. Once things start hitting the fan, you can see the moments where the Plemon character starts to unravel. And without saying too much, it is very interesting to really think about how, if you were in the other person's shoes, just exactly what you would need to say, think, and believe in just to have a slimmer of hope of escaping. And that, ladies and gentlemen, hope is where the fun begins. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but what happens when the road is taken away? There is a underlying message, you know. I tend to like adapt and see what we're looking at, and I tend to kind of pull out whatever I can from these films. It's why I like films. There's always something to extract from the story, the narrative, and clearly Emma Stone and the team has a message for America / the world, which is very fascinating, because you could just let them focus on America. You know, you could say this takes an American, that's it. But they add a layer of world building to this. And then you kind of start to understand how things are connected if you choose to accept it. And I also feel like that is like a interesting message. The fact that we are stuck on this rock, well, at least, you know, unless you have a fucking Musk rocket up the ass or something. But we are stuck in this, for all intents and purposes, in this timeline, in this current time frame, we are stuck on this rock. We can go excavate Mars and we can go build generators in the moon, but we will never have the oxygen, the lush green, the water, the oceans that we have on planet Earth. So I beg of you, if we, the people, understand that there is only one planet Earth, then why have we year over year, and even now when we've hit the doomsday clock, scientists have already proclaimed doomsday clock is upon us, that we just keep on burning through our resources? Before, all I'd really say about that is that yes, in the search of AI, in the desire to create this huge computer that would know everything, we've fed it natural resources. The supercomputer centers over on the East Coast, those guys use residential water to process things. You know, the same H2O that humans need to survive. So we're at a very fascinating time when it comes to resources and how those resources will be continued to be used or kind of distributed specifically in research centers where we're focused on profit rather than the immediate issues. So there's a lot to take from that. Whatever you want to feel, whatever you want to believe, however you want to come out of this film, that's all up to you. At the end of the day, if you can handle a hostage situation, specifically if you are a woman who, you know, might have some fears about this, then maybe do not recommend it. But if you have that kind of like curiosity, or if you're feeling that you need to see what happens on the other side, then you're my kind of person. In terms of fighting for knowledge and trying to discover truth, then what else? Truth is out there. I want to believe. And so, with that one, that's another beautiful wrap on the Emma Stone production, which, you know, credits to her and the team. Again, credit where credit is due, because this chick legit cut off her hair for this film. And I can tell that was legit her, because there's a scene where they're cutting her hair off and you see like a bump or a pimple on her cranium, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's all her. That's all natural. That's her actual scalp. So if anybody's curious about what that looks like, go do you. But wait, there's more. Yes, sirritos. If scalps don't do it for you, let's talk about yeah, more abductions, somewhat. That's right. In an interesting turn of events, one Chris Stuckman, sorry, I don't watch that much YouTube. But yes, one Chris Stuckman, if that name sounds familiar to you, or that rings any bells, along with Mike Flanagan, whatever, a YouTuber who reviews YouTube movies, was given the opportunity to direct a movie. Let that sink in for a second. And it's fucking good. Yeah, man. Who would have known? A YouTuber reviewer would be really good at making movies and or writing plots and plot points and threads and whatever. But I'm a little late on this. I know, I understand. This was definitely a spoopy season thing to watch. If anybody out there is still excited for the spoopy season, got you right here, fam. In one Shelby Oaks, we have a really cool premise, at least the way they presented it. Again, this can only come from someone who has studied films. Kind of like how Chainsaw Man has that peak Reze arc writing. Someone who really enjoys films and understands what makes films, what makes them good, is able to harness the spirit. And the spirit is the right word, because you start off with like a sort of pseudo interview thing, which is pretty popular these days apparently. Remember that murder movie, a murder mystery movie that we talked about? Yeah, kind of giving you this homie camera vibes, because where this takes place is in, at least where this starts off, is in the original YouTube era. You know, back when YouTube used to just be like a white space with a square in the corner. Yes, stuff like that. And in this era, I remember it very fondly. The age of internet connectivity allowed people to really express themselves in a way that was less common than usual, right? Something more creative, something more like boots to the ground and like dirty elbows and stuff like that. And you have the younger sister of our main character, who was the host of a ghost hunters YouTube channel. And while they have fun, oh, that makes sense because it's Chris Stuckman. And while they have fun, so it's almost like a love letter to the original YouTube as well. So that's very, very cool. I just got that right now. So on one of their nights, right, one of their horror hunts, they never come back, which causes a big disturbance. If you know anything about the internet, it's that people love to rumor about things that they don't know. Talk about things that they don't know. And this is definitely one of those cases, because you get to see how the internet reacts to what some people considered fake footage, to what some people considered like, oh, they're just playing it up for the show and blah, blah, blah. And that creates an interesting dynamic. Ooh. Because when someone is really in trouble, or somebody is hurting because their little sister has not been home in a decade or 5-6 years, whatever it may be, that's a little sad, man. But again, because it's the internet, and somehow the internet has inspired us to not put a layer between humanity and situation. So like now you can look at a situation through your telephone screen and be like, oh, this doesn't affect me, so I don't care. Great age of this communication, I don't know. But you see how this affects the elder sister, how she just really misses her younger sister, right? There's like the sense of joy and like appreciation that her sister's universe brought to her world, and now understanding that the little friend is never gonna be, or hasn't been around, or is never gonna be around anymore, is heartbreaking, right? They say a parent should never pass, or a child should never pass before the parents, because it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, that parent is gonna have to live with that sense of guilt for the rest of the time, hypothetically speaking. So when it comes down to it, when, you know, people have given up on searching, and when you feel like you're at a wit's end, what happens when it starts happening all over again? Because the movie actually does something very impressive that I haven't seen before. It is a damn bold choice, Chris, and I freaking respect it because it makes sense. Because the beginning of this film is that found footage, all those clips of YouTube, all her having fun, being enjoyable, blah, 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 living her life, clearly showing signs of distress in moments, but also still pushing through with her project, her YouTube project. And it's after years of nothing, just silence, missing people, that one day a young gentleman decides to roll up to her house and blasts itself in front of her. Yeah, you might be thinking that's kind of a spoiler, dude. But what if I told you that 20 minutes into this movie is when the movie actually starts? Because once that shot goes off, it changes everything. It's no longer a missing case person. It is a, what does this person know and how do we use this to get back to the sister, back to the future. And yeah, it does become your go-to detective-y, horror-esque finding the solutions thing. But what I really, granted, although with a spiritual threat, something that we forgot to mention, the reason little sister has a ghost hunting YouTube channel is because apparently ever since she was younger, she was able to feel these presences. She was able to see things in the corner of the room. And the eldest sister, you know, would support her and believe her in all of that. But eventually they grew out of it. At least that's what we thought. So when elder sister realizes that there's a videotape stuck in the hand of the guy who shot himself, instead of telling the police, she goes and investigates on herself, which pretty ballsy. I see it, I get it. Yeah, because if you give it to the police, then they would process it and it'll take forever, and then they would say it's a end case, because in that videotape is the same guy who shot himself, making you wonder, why did he do it? Was it guilt? Was he a victim? Why did they abduct her? Or why did somebody grab her, which is what is shown in the film or the found camera? And it is through, in this moment, right, being able to, the closer we get to the truth, the eldest sister starts noticing things go bump in the night. And then that's where we get their standard spectacular spooky mayhem. And honestly, as far as like evil presences go in horror films, this one did something interesting. It doesn't necessarily give you the big baddie themselves. It instead kind of it kind of establishes that there are minions that support, that help this presence, as far as we're starting to understand. So you're being teased by the smaller, let's call it, what are they called? Being teased by the smaller minions, disparatu, but at the same time, you know that there's something much worse out there. So that's how he really makes it kind of feel like, oh, things are bad now, but they can get a lot worse. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty hard, man. So seeing all that play out, them go through, older sister playing detective, actually being really good at it, and understanding places and places and places and places, until we get to a point where things start making sense. And it's in those things, it is when things start making sense, when you start getting answers, that things go crazier than they have ever been. Because now we're not just talking about a simple abduction case. Now we're talking about demonic rituals. Now we're talking about a evil presence. Now we're talking about this sort of I guess presence, I guess, this demonic aura that has set its sights on what it wants. So, can they make it? Will it happen? When the truth gets revealed and we find the fate, we figure out the fate of the younger sister, it it brings a really interesting topic or a question or a scenario, right? I don't want to get too into it, but let's say you were forced to do certain actions against your will. And let's say that those actions resulted in a very, very like consequence, very strong consequence. Now there's a choice. There's a interesting, gut-wrenching, provoking choice. If we know that this consequence is pure evil, do we have a responsibility to adjust it? Vaguely putting things. Or do we not? Do we allow this spirit to roam the earth freely and just pray for the best? Interesting thoughts. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm supporting a certain like proposition, but it is a very like scary thing. If you yourself knew that you had created something abysmal and nobody but you understood just how bad it was, it's hard, man. It really is hard. Obviously, no. But if we're talking about something like something that could save humanity or protect millions, then perhaps there would be a conversation to be told. And it's not an easy conversation. I don't think any action like that is to be taken lightly. But I do think that the actions that we do take in our lives do define the person that we want to become, or the ones that how we have become. So it's also very important to understand a person through their actions, so we can try to at least give them the best chance. The best fighting chance is to simply listen and to watch what they are doing. Hypothetically speaking, things go well and nobody gets hurt. But on the off chance that the universe does blow up and someone needs to take action, then it will be the few strong-willed, strong-minded people that will do their best to get what needs to be done. Bugonia. But yeah, very impressive, honestly. The fact that it was the YouTube dude just blew my mind. And then the fact that it's actually a really freaking good film. It's really well made in terms of like pacing, presentation, the vibes, bringing back the old school YouTube channel. This was a passion project, man. It really was, you can tell. And again, that's one of the most exciting things about this era, for me at least, is that when we look around, you see Hollywood just kind of being stupid or pushing forward this propaganda or agenda, or like people don't even have any creativity anymore. All they do is like copy and paste from AI, GPA. PewDiePie says stop using Chat GPA, by the way. That you can't really find something as inspired as this. And I believe the inspiration comes from Chris coming from a Jehovah's Witness family, is what I've been hearing on the internet. So if you want to put things in that scenario and in that light and just kind of that influence, then yeah, you can start to see where this is coming from. So again, because this man has spent his life reviewing movies, he understands storytelling, filming, cinematography, horror elements. And because this man had a real story to tell, He's not just trying to make some bottom line for some executive who's invested his bullshit ass time on this, but he's actually making a project that means something to him. And that shows all the difference. We are in an incredible moment in time. The fact that you can make your own productions and still reach into the big leagues, you know, go where the big dogs are over at AMC, is fascinating. And I really, really hope that we have a lot more of these type of productions. I can see it. I can see Blumhouse opening up a subsection of rookie directors where people like this, you know, produced by Chris Stuckman or something, can help showcase new stories, new entertainment, new directions to create fiction from different cultures, create different scenarios. And if we can make that universal, get it, then yeah, ¿por qué no los dos? So, pretty damn cool. I think it's really cool that this guy shows up and he did that, and that's gonna be something to write down. I hope the film, I know the film's been doing really good. A lot of people are talking about it, and it's also exciting because it is a YouTuber created film. It naturally gets that YouTube fire, or that YouTube topic fire, and it's almost ironic because I feel more YouTube people in our generation know about this movie than the normal Hollywood press people, if that makes any sense. And again, that's right there. I'm not even gonna explain it too much, but some financial dumbass in the fucking CEO areas is fucking sweating it right now because he's super excited about the potential of all this, what this means. But I'm here to say that it is art. It is a passion, and it's art for art's sake. So take care of yourself out there. Stay safe. Don't let anybody fuck up your vision if you know what you want to talk, what you want to tell. At least that's my advice for y'all. But what happens when advice isn't enough, my dude? Let's go, because that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, it's your boy, the girls. K-pop Demon Hunters is, first of all, number one, the fact that Sony Animation Production Pictures made this whole movie. Yes, the people who make Spider-Man Across the Universe made this movie. And then went like, you can have a Netflix, you distribute it. Must be the biggest fuck up in some dumbass executive's history or whatever. Like career, yeah. He's the biggest fuck up in some CEO's career. Because did we think a Korean pop was gonna hit hard? Yeah, I guess you could have assumed that. Did we think K-pop Demon Hunters had potential in the universe? Well, you got Japanese Demon Hunter coming around, so yeah, I guess we had potential there too as well. But did we think that a K-pop Demon Hunters animated film for ages 10 and up would have the strongest plot, story, message? Like I've seen this thing about maybe 3 or 4 times, depending on how offset I was that day. But sitting down in my recent single showing in theaters, right? Sitting down, right, it's kind of like, at this point, I had already turned my brain off. I was just, again, waiting for Bugonia to start, and I just walked into K-pop. I heard the music, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll just sit down for a little bit. And hearing or seeing all the points that were being laid out, you know, you have your three girls, obviously Rumi the leader. I don't even know the other name. I just know Zoe, and I just know Zoe is the cute glue that holds everybody together. And then I forgot the third girl's name. She's a Napalm era girl, but she's like the kind of like the sharp edge bratty girl that everyone kind of like admires from a distance. And yeah, you have three different girls with three different personalities who are all trying to work together to really complete their ultimate goal. Normally, that goal is K-pop, right? They're out there, they're doing Korean pop, and nice, and they're having fun with their stuff together. But what makes this more, I guess, respectable, right? Because they have a mission. They generally have something important to do. And whether that be support the fans with Korean pop, or whether that be see Spider-Man, or whether that be fight the demons to save the universe, they're all fighting for a great cause. But the bigger appeal of their relationship is that they're all learning to be family. If they're not family already, at least they've tried to be a family. And if anybody who's actually seen the film already knows, there are certain things that aren't easy to share for certain people, but it's through this uncertainty, right? Through them going through the rough spots, through them trying to figure out themselves, through them trying to take some time away to see who they are and try to understand who they want to be. And through them just trying to be good to each other, just gives off so much empathy. And I believe that's one of K-pop's biggest appeals. The fact that you have little ones, there's little 10-year-olds and parents with their children, parents bringing their children to this showing. Whether the parents liked it or not, or whether the parents learned, or whether the parents were able to respect its content, I'm not too sure. That's a question that I do have as a middle-aged man. I don't know how old am I? As a young adult as an adult, I'm just an adult now, damn it. As an adult with no offspring, what does it mean to actually be able to find something that your child loves, that is kind of cool, honestly, that music just really fucking slaps, and that actually means something? By the time you go through the story, which is a whopping 1 hour and 30 minutes, super short, beautiful. By the time you go through the story, you really feel like you have a grasp on these characters. At least the main character specifically speaking, because we're going through her perspective first and foremost. But I always talk about how my favorite aspect of characters is how the side characters help cement and fill out the complexity of the main characters. And yeah, you have her with her family, i.e. her sisters, and then you have her by herself, really reflecting on her moments. And then you have her with someone who she can trust. Trust, one of the hardest things to give, but the easiest things to break, is, I think, the crutch of this. When you look at the girls and you see them fighting together, right? And you see them supporting each other through their choreography, and you see them support each other through their vocals, and you get a sense of this camaraderie, the sense of trust. So when that trust is taken away, it's very easy to understand just how how disappointing, how distressful that might be for someone to live their lives believing something, only to understand that all of it was a lie. And now when the lies are lifted and the dust is lifted, where do we go from here? What does that mean for us now? And it does a great job, man. I don't know if I can express how thankful I am that there is something this good that has something very powerful to say. Specifically about the whole being a mistake and how that single line can mean so much for so many different people, but the way they just express it, like purely express it, makes you respect it. And I think it's amazing that the team was able to really hit those topics and not shy away from how serious the moment is. To be able to finally let down your guard and believe in someone is an ultimate sense of freedom, right? Like protection, freedom, you're able to express yourself. Normally one would assume that's a parent. It starts with a parent first and foremost. A child needs to be able to express themselves freely in front of their adult figure, because they need to know that they are safe to be who they want to be, safe to think what they want to think, and to grow in a healthy manner rather than growing anxious, disappointed, or even disgusted by their own life. It's important that we understand what our roles as parents, as educationalists, as teachers, as lovers, as humans is. When you really think about it, what is humanity if not a series of lives building off of the past lives? And if you're to understand that, why wouldn't you give your best effort to raising the next generation? Giving them the best chance to create something better. We fuck up all the time. Some people might call us fuck ups, period. But it's what we do with our time. It's how our actions are expressed that truly defines who we are. So seeing the girls go through their journey, falling in love with Zoe, and understanding that they're although it is a animated story, although it is a cute cartoon for the children, the fact that they went so hard on this proves just why it became a worldwide sensation. And that deserves to be praised. I do believe. So, with the rumors of a K-pop Demon Hunters numero dos, I naturally tend to get a little bit uneasy. Usually people don't do sequels unless you're Terminator 2. Ayo. But if we can go back to the drawing board, and if we can respect this property while not expecting the universe from it, that's gonna be the test. Because we have little minds out there, we have little young ones out there who are excited, who love this franchise. I saw a couple of Demon Hunters when I was giving away candy, and honestly, it was the cutest thing. I don't think I've ever done that before, but being able to acknowledge the kids and be like, oh, you're this person. Wow, you're so cool. To keep it up, blah blah blah. Demon Slayer, keep on slaying them demons, yeah. And being able to just egg them on, I personally believe is one of the greatest responsibilities that we as adults can give to our little ones. And me me hitting a certain age, I'm ready. I've been doing that already. That's what this is all about. Leaving something behind for somebody to learn something. But it is what it is, man. Just this universe is just gonna keep on spinning, and we're gonna keep on procreating if the Lord gives us, you know, a chance and beautiful like an opportunity to actually believe into something. But for me, most and foremost is that the idea that there has to be some good that remains in everything that we do. So the youth, the little ones, the kids can pick those up and feel our love and our care and our attention, and not take it as a sort of like a mandate, but more of a caring like desire, like a loving desire for their futures. And you can't get that without trust. So trust, and K-pop demon hunters, and family, and finding true love, and finding something to believe in. It's very cool. And I hope, I really do hope they don't go too potato with the second film. Will I care? Probably not, but I feel like we're too into this to like not at least try to like, you know, support it while we're here or whatever. But yeah, granted, obviously there's gonna be a second one. There's too much money to be made to not make a second one. And the curiosity is gonna be seeing how Sony approaches it this time around. Whether they have a chip on their shoulder because they didn't make all that money that Netflix made off of this, or whether they're gonna say, you know what, we did something good. And we have the resources, we have Crunchyroll, we have all this other bullshit, we have all these revenues. Let's make something good. No, let's make something great. But hey, if you like that, if you enjoyed any of these films, please let us know. What's good? Also, are aliens real? Let's find out. So, with all that being said, yes, it is your boy, EXP606 Stitch. Having fun. I love watching movies. I love feeling something is being told without it being shoved down my throat and being forced to believe a certain way. But seeing these films and honestly just kind of like respecting what they've done with this, and just being grateful, man. I'm from Hollywood, right? Like I'm from LA. I've grown up in a universe where cinema is my blood and passion, you know. It has blood and passion, but I'm lucky for that. I don't ever believe that I deserve anything. Anything that is given to me is given to me through either work or patience or grace, and I'm thankful. I need to be thankful always, because I want to acknowledge, I want to accept, I want to believe that a single hope, that a single thought, that a single prayer holds value in my heart, at least in my brain, my thoughts. And I'd want to be there for that person if they need that, because I think it's worth it. I believe it's worth it. And if you're telling me that we're getting more creative minds that are gonna push for something like that means something in our generation, I'll be there. I'll support it. And I hope you'll support us too. So hit that like, subscrizzle, hang out with our friends, Staz, Annie Chatter, and we'll keep on going, man. We'll keep on pushing, we'll keep on having fun. I look forward to just being a chill vibe and seeing y'all in the future. So, until then, yeah. But until then, thanks for watching. Hasta la próxima. Ciao. Mantane. We were meant to fall apart.